Hello, everyone. Welcome to ISO to IATF. I'm Cindy Solva-Stroud, and I'm your presenter. And I want to talk to you about introduction to processes. One of the reasons that this topic is so hot on my agenda, we have launched ISO 9001 2015, of course, in 2015, IATF 16949 2016 in 2016, and it is now 2022, and organizations are still having a lot of difficulty identifying processes, identifying risks, identifying KPIs. So I want to talk a little bit about the requirements of the standard, and these are, again, ISO 9001 requirements, foundational requirements. So ISO 9001, again, automatically is a part of IATF. IATF is not necessarily a part of ISO 9001, or absolutely is not a part of ISO 9001. So this is a very foundational ISO 9001 requirement. And it is found in section 4.4.1. It's under quality management systems and its processes. So it's in the very beginning of the standard, right? So I'm going to read this, and then we're going to go over the requirements directly out of the standard. So it states, the organization shall establish, implement, maintain, and continually improve a quality management system, right? Including the processes needed and their interactions in accordance with requirements of this international standard. So they're telling you right now that you must identify processes in accordance with the international standard, ISO 9001, right, that describe your quality management system, right, and how it works. A lot of organizations identify processes using the titles out of the standard. You absolutely can do that. It's not wrong. However, that's not the way that you refer to them in your business. My suggestion or best practice would be, look at your system. What do you call those processes? And identify those processes in your map, in your normal, everyday conversation, right? Every organization has its own culture. Every organization has its own lingo, and the way that you talk to each other, the way that you describe your processes or refer to your processes. I encourage you to use that on your process map first, and then integrate the standard requirements into those processes that you identify with, right? So the organization shall determine the processes needed for the quality management system and their application throughout the organization, and shall, A through H. A, determine the inputs required and the outputs expected for these processes. So you must identify inputs and outputs for each process. Determine the sequence and interaction of these processes. This absolutely includes remote locations. If you are a site and you have a remote location that performs functions for you, that must be included on your interaction map. If you have a site, another site that acts as a remote location, doing other functions or doing functions for you, you must identify those functions and that site on your interaction of processes. If you have outsourced processes, you must identify those outsourced processes on your interaction map, right? So, okay, that was B, determine the sequence and interaction of these processes. C, determine and apply the criteria and methods, including monitoring, measurements, and related performance indicators needed to ensure the effective operation and control of these processes. Every single process on your process map must have a metric or KPI. They must have a metric or KPI. So the question you may say is, hey, can I use a same KPI for multiple processes? Absolutely, if it makes sense. And if that KPI truly measures the output of your process or processes, right? So just make sure that the indicators are adding value and they are truly measuring the output of the processes identified. So you can use a KPI for multiple processes. All right. Determine the resources needed for these processes and ensure the resource availability, right? So we've got to make sure that we're providing the resources. And in another segment, we talked about top management. This is top management's responsibility, is to make sure that the resources are available, right? So we can maintain the effectiveness of the quality management system. You must assign the responsibilities and authorities for these processes. So process owners, right? So we have to have process owners identified for every process. So you may ask, can one process have multiple process owners? Absolutely. Can one process owner own multiple processes? Absolutely. That's the way the world works, right? We have many companies that have one process owner for multiple processes, right? So you're not going to identify Joe as a process owner and then say, well, all these 5 processes fall under Joe, so we're going to put them in one process. No. Identify your processes, and Joe would be the process owner for each one of the processes. And then you would identify the KPIs for each one of the processes that Joe owns. F, address the risks and opportunities as determined in accordance with the requirements of 6.1. Every single process must have a risk analysis. Let me say that again. Every single process must have a risk analysis. No one should be shocked when someone asks you for the risk analysis for your process. All the process owners need to be able to find these on their own. They need to know where they are. These risks and opportunities for your processes are acting as living documents. This is an ISO 9001 requirement, 4.4.1, very foundational. So we're starting at the core. We're starting at the bottom, right? So you've got to make sure all your processes have risks and risk analysis. And we're going to talk about the risk analysis and the requirements of risk in another session. G, evaluate these processes and implement any changes needed to ensure that these processes achieve their intended results, right? So we're looking at our KPIs, we're reevaluating. Maybe you have a procedure, maybe you don't. The standard requires a documented process for some of these processes. Does documented mean a procedure? I don't know. It doesn't say procedure. It says a documented process. So with the ISO 9001:2015, the word procedure was removed from everywhere, and now it just says documented process. So think about that, right? All right, so you just have to make sure that you're managing the changes and you're making the changes necessary in order to achieve your intended results. So you need to ask yourself for each of these processes, what are my intended results for the output of this process? And how do I make sure that I'm meeting those intended results, right? That will help you determine what your KPIs should be, right? Make sure they have value, make sure they drive improvement. And that leads to H, improve the processes and the quality management system. All of these processes make up the quality management system. When you're making improvements to your processes, you are making improvements to the quality management system. Many times when I look at continual improvement, right, in an organization, where does continual improvement focus? They focus on operations. They focus on production because that's the biggest bang for the buck, right? Well, you know what? Not always. So the standard says, hey, listen, that's great. I want you to focus on production, and I want you to make improvements, and I want you to become more efficient, more effective in that process. However, the quality management system is made up of every single process and every single requirement within the standards of IATF and ISO 9001. So they want you to continually improve the overall quality management systems, which means that we should be looking at each and every process and not just focusing on production alone when we're looking at continuous improvement. And this is one of the biggest mistakes that management makes in general, is they continually focus on product and production, which is, you have to, right, to maintain customer satisfaction. However, the requirement is, let's do the overall quality management system for improvement. So for introduction to processes, I hope this helps. I know it was kind of short. We're going to be doing another session on actually identifying processes and going into a little bit of a deeper dive that will hopefully help everyone fine-tune your current system, and or for those of you that are just starting out, help get you on the right track so that you don't have to make as many changes down the road. Right, so that's our goal, right, is to get it right the first time, or be as close as we can. And there's nothing wrong with making tweaks, right? Very few of us ever get it right the first time, right? Until we think we have it right, and then somebody comes in with fresh eyes and they kind of look at our system, and then we go, oh, I didn't think about that. I see ways that I can improve, right? And that's what it's all about, is continually improving and are making our system more robust and stronger as we grow and mature within the systems. So again, I hope this helps, and I look forward to seeing everyone again. We are sponsored by SNCS, and you can reach us at www.sncs-it.com. And if you have any questions or comments or topics that you would like to see in the future, please write to us at isotoiatf@gmail.com. That is isotoiatf@gmail.com. And thanks again, and I look forward to seeing you again. All right, bye-bye.
We hope you enjoy this video, the first in a series of informational videos for the ISO 9001 and IATF 16949 community. On our next video, we will provide information on how to navigate the different ISO 9001 and IATF 16949 requirements all companies face during their audit process. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and hit the notification bell for future videos. If you would like a demo of the SNCS software, contact information is provided below this video. Thanks again, and have a great day.